Okay, so this is my favorite board game. I used to play all the time with a kid. It's named Othello, after the play of Shakespeare. Sometimes they change the name to Reversi to avoid, controversial titling. But I like to call it Othello because I think it sounds better, and that's what it was originally titled. This here is the starting board of a game of Othello. In the center, we have 2 white pieces and 2 black pieces placed across from each other. The main mechanic that this game uses, and really the only mechanic in this game, is players take turns sandwiching a piece of an opposite color between theirs to flip it over. Every turn, you have to sandwich another player's pieces. And the game is all about that. The game goes back and forth like this for a while, until either a player is not allowed to make a move and they have to forfeit their turn, or the board is entirely filled. Once all pieces are placed, the game is over and the player with more pieces on the board at the end wins. Here are some pictures of some good ending boards from my friends and family. While Othello may seem kind of ridiculously simple at first, there are a couple of interesting strategies that go on when you're really getting into it with someone who knows what they're doing. One important thing is to never be the first person to leave the inner circle. Inner square, actually. As you can see, everything here is entirely fine. The board even has marks to show when you're leaving the inner square. Because if you leave the inner square first, you run the risk of you giving your opponent access to the wall. So let's say I'm playing black here. I want to take this white piece here, flip this over, okay? And now it's white's turn. They're going to play here, set up a little bit of a wall there. Black's turn once again. They're just going to go for something simple, safe back inside the wall. But what they fail to predict is that now white has access to the wall. Your opponent getting the wall is bad because it means that no matter what you place in this line, if there wasn't a black piece here, if there's black was placing a piece here, it wouldn't matter what they place because there is nothing for them to sandwich between. They've reached the wall. The same goes for corners. Corners are the most powerful pieces in the game. So let's say black goes here, and white goes here. So, number one, we get all these pieces flipped. Corners are pretty strong for that, because people don't protect their diagonals much. And the other thing that makes it interesting is now, across these 2 directions, any white pieces touching this one, in this direction, or this direction, cannot be sandwiched anymore. It effectively gives you the ability to lock down walls and kind of rush through the game. This game kind of is the only board game that I enjoy. Checkers and chess are fun, but I feel like the complexities in chess are not completely obvious unless you spend a lot of time trying to comprehend what's going on. I don't think it really fits into the easy to learn, hard to master. I feel like it's kind of hard to learn chess and then also very hard to master. Mastering Othello is extremely hard because it requires an understanding of your opponent's psychology and what they're likely to go for, what they're likely to see, and what they're likely to exploit from you. Okay, the simplicity of Othello is what I think allows it to shine. Because the game is so easy to understand, mastering it becomes less about mastering the game itself and more about mastering your opponent and understanding what they can and can't see. While playing chess is all about understanding what your opponent is going to do next, Othello is about understanding what your opponent has done. The state of the board is super important. It's the only thing you have to pay attention to. Because if you see here, white has access to this corner next. So I have to find a way to see if I can prevent white from getting to that corner on their next turn with black. Right? So what I'm going to do is flip across here. Now, white has no means to access this corner on the next turn, meaning that they can't gain ground there. The moves for white on this turn, especially the good ones, are very sparse because of what I've done to control the board. And so now, black gets more opportunities. Some of the aesthetics I think this game touches on are, first of all, of course, challenge. It's a very pure logic game. There's not much luck to go around, not much action either. I think it also touches on submission a little bit because of the way that you are sort of cultivating a board to play on. And this could just be, an offset of how the skill functions. But I believe that you're kind of creating the ground that you want to work on later. Actually, I think there's an unintended aesthetic to this game, which I believe is sensation. Now, while this game may not seem very flashy at first, I feel like the simple black and white nature of the game, paired with the sound of flipping a piece, just makes it a really enjoyable experience. Just hearing that sound back to back, knowing how things are getting from the sounds, and just seeing the pieces flip is very visually interesting to me.